A lot of the guys are at lunch right now, but this is a shot of the locomotive. It's right around noon. Let me take a look. Yeah, it's 11:33, and they've been working on some boiler pipes over there on the right, and the guys are here working on their shuttle wagon. I get the feeling that maybe they would have been a little more lucky if they hadn't numbered at 13, but it does what it needs to do, I suppose. But the guys were up on top working on something there. I don't know if it was the sand dome or what it was, but anyways, we'll get some more video as the guys come back and start doing more work, and I'll walk around and take some more video.
I want to know why those damn things are finger tight. They're almost finger tight. Yeah. We're going to tighten them up just for love. I don't know if they can put that hold. But they're finger tight. They're not doing any good. They've got a washer under them.
Yeah, lock washer.
So let's, what was it, 9/16? That's what it looks like. That's good.
Oh, the old.
Oh, okay, great. We're good.
Maybe they, when you in the rebuild process, do that. All right.
Let's get this baby back on the ground.
5-1. We jack it up.
Inside that plastic looks like rebuilt boiler pipes. I'm sure they're waiting to be installed. This is a little cover they have to work under. This is the operational sheds and work sheds and storage container that are next to the locomotive. In the distance on the right, behind the locomotive, you can see where they parked the locomotive inside of its shed, and just bring it out, drag it out to work on it, and I assume put it back in. This is just a little different view of the locomotive. All the guys here seem to be real nice, all volunteers. They're trying to get some boiler pipe or heating pipes, superheating pipes refurbished here on the right hand side. There's been a guy working on that. It looks like he's trying to resurface the connection surfaces. I think the pipes have already been tested from what I understand. They just need to be reinstalled on the locomotive once they get them all cleaned up, it looks like. I was speaking with an electrical engineer from Los Alamos that comes down here and works on the electrical portion of the locomotive, and they have to modernize it with all the new equipment, the MU equipment, the radios, transponding, everything. They're also talking about mounting a video camera on the front, you know, in case of accident and so forth. The way the world is today, they're trying to figure out what they need to do for wiring and so forth. He said that they have miles of wire that they need to string through conduit and stuff to get wire where they need to go to feed everything. And they've got some type of battery that's going to do the GPS and all the other low voltage type equipment, radios and everything. And then they've got 2 steam generators that are going to run all the 32 volt equipment that's on there. And he was telling me that 32 volt on old locomotives is pretty standard. Everybody seems to think that it's kind of outdated, but apparently they still use it in marine applications as well. So he was saying that most of the stuff is readily available because it's still available for the marine industry.
How you doing?
Just peachy. How about you?
Just right.
This is down the side. I've been talking to a young man who's been working up there on the throttle. I guess we would call it a throttle valve. At some point in time, maybe when I get home, I'll add to this video and try and explain to you how that throttle cam up there works, which he explained to me, which I found very interesting. I didn't know how the throttle on a steam locomotive worked. But I'm gonna walk down here and maybe explain a couple other things to my limited amount of knowledge I have on steam locomotives. Maybe it'll help some of you understand some components here. Okay, what we're kind of looking at here is the boiler, and the firebox is obviously inside there. And the water is in between the firebox and this boiler, which you see the plates here with all these little nodules on it. I don't recall what he said the nodules, the actual technical name for them are. But I asked him, why is there so many of them? I thought they were like pop-offs or something, and they're not. What they are is there's rods that go down in and attach to the boiler and hold the firebox and hold the firebox in place.
Right again.
Yeah. Hey everybody, this is Henry, and he's explaining to me that this is the throttle cam, and as this rotates, it lifts particular valves to allow more steam to enter the pistons, and therefore making the locomotive move faster. The one that's right here is an equalization valve. It opens first and equalizes the pressure on both sides of the main valves, which are here. And these, as he was pointing out to me, these have different profiles, so they open at different times as this is rotated, allowing more steam to go into or to go to the cylinders. Okay, Henry brought out a poppet valve, and what he's explaining to me is the camshaft goes through here, and the lobe of the cam actually rides on here. This valve sits oriented up in the locomotive like so. Your high pressure is up here, and when the cam goes up here and pushes up on this, it allows the pressure to come around this valve into this section, which goes down to the cylinders and increases the speed of the locomotive by how many of those valves are open at a time. Well, I've been standing here shooting the bull, and I need to get taking some pictures, so we're just going to walk down this way a little bit. I believe these guys are trying to figure out how to use, or how to, not how to use, how to place in the water level indicator valve, and I don't know what the proper terminology is for it, but I'm going to take you over and show it to you. This is the device they're trying to figure out how it's going to go in there, or where it goes, or discussing. What they're trying to do now, I guess, is they're trying to figure out a seal. What kind of seal goes in between here and here, these two mating surfaces for this sight valve, which is a water indicator, water level indicator. And I think that's what they're trying to figure out in there right now.
I actually called it here.
Here's the, I believe they call it the smoke lifter. It's an extendable, basically an extendable stack that was known on these locomotives here to raise the smoke up and get it over the cars, get it higher over the cars and the cab of the locomotive to increase vision, from what I understand. I could be wrong, and I'm sure somebody will probably likely correct me on that. But anyway, here's the unit that would actually go on top of the smokestack. There's a little physical size comparison between the whistle and a human being. And what he's working on up there right now is the cams that we looked at that operate the poppet valves to increase the speed and decrease the speed of the locomotive.
Bearings all came back, and we started putting the bearings back on the crank pins here. And then we started putting the drive rods back on. And it turned out that the drive rod back here between the third and fourth driver wouldn't fit. And it's one of these deals that when you put the rod on, it has to capture both crank pins exactly simultaneously. And it was off by just, a teeny amount. But that didn't matter. And it was obvious that somehow the rear driver had gotten just a little out of sync with the rest of the drivers. Right? The crank pin was just moved a little bit. So all of our brainiacs got together and said, well, it's obvious it's out of sync. Yeah, gravity's a bitch.
Once upon a time, I had to be out in the cold in order to make a living. Now I don't.
Exactly.
Has the heater been working? You've been working, using it?
No, not yet.
Well, that's okay. All I have to do is screw that thing on whenever we
Yeah, test.
go to fill it.
And that pipe was on the, you guys put it on the sand dome to pressurize the
Well,
dome or what?
You can always. I don't know because you already missed the dimension. I was gonna say you could turn it down
I could
with the valve,
cut it,
shorten it,
cutting the cap off again like I did before.
cut it off and shorten it.
Have it rewelded another inch and a half. I wanted to make it as tall as I could so that that water would be easily flow into that dry pipe.
Yeah,
Super heater.
messed up the top part.
You're gonna get air
Well, I
somewhere in
think
there.
I just turned the valve handle side.
Oh yeah.